First thing I want to say, it's just a weird message. It'll mean something to somebody, but sometimes you have to leave the breadcrumbs or, the frosting to lead somebody on the path. And it is very weird when you do realize that your soul is connected to another soul. It's weird. It's a really weird experience. I don't even know how to explain it. I think, once I cross over that part where I'm a crazy person and move into, it's real, then there will be a lot more to explain about it. But it's freaking weird. It's weird because you hear them talking in your head. You can see their face in your head all the time. It's like they're constantly, you can feel how they feel. It's really weird. But speaking of, being in touch with your body, that's what I was thinking about this morning too. And, being here in this freaking frigid bullshit, which, I think it's seven days. I have an Apple phone on Apple weather, what they'll tell you, how far out. Might be 10 days. I think it's 7. Apple's so weird. I know I've talked about that a lot. Apple's its own weird, they were the start of it, I think they probably sold out first to China. Like, oh, you want to track people? Hell yeah. How much will you give me? You want to do this? Oh, hell yeah. You want to know what they spend it on? What they're doing? Hell yeah. What are you going to give me? That's this world that we were trying to make a better place. It was all on us, fighting against the devil the whole time. But anyways, so on the Apple phone, I think it says 7-day one, but on the forecast, I keep going in and checking, and I should have checked sooner. I mean, I don't even know. I was like super busy. It was like right before Christmas, and I was like in a frenzy. I'm trying to finish my hats. And so I wasn't watching the weather so much, and I hadn't been on TikTok. I hadn't been on anything really. I'd just been consumed with my hands and keeping my mind distracted, right? So this weather kind of snuck up on me. I had gotten prepared all the way back, all of 2021. They were like, oh, be prepared. We're going to go into 10 days of darkness. We're going to, all of this stuff that they kept saying, you better be prepared. And then when I started learning more about, this is the collapse of the corporation, and you start considering like everything that we get comes from a corporation in some form or another. That's why this is so significant, what's going on. And so many people are they're going to be so caught off guard by all of the different collapses that are going to occur. But, then I started thinking about the food thing. I started really thinking about food a lot different when I started thinking about, if there's not grocery stores, if it's not corporations feeding us, growing our food and all of this stuff that they've got us, the system that they have created and enslaved us to. So if that were to go, what would happen? Like, what about food? So I started thinking a lot about food and survival, and I started thinking about, back in the olden days that are probably happening, at this same time in this same area, and tapping into that consciousness, I started thinking about that. I just started thinking about food differently, thinking about how people used to survive and what they used to live off of. And I thought a lot about it, just throughout the history that we have been told. And, we've gone through famine and we've gone through abundance. And I mean, right now it's kind of weird because we have, and it's that double, that upside down thing, how we really are a nation of starvation, but consumerism at the same time. It's like this, I have a word in my head, but I never can feel like I can say it right. It's like Deuteronomy, I can't think of it, but it's like two opposing forces, and it is a duality. And that just made me think of another thing too. Damn it. Well, let me just keep going on this one, because I swear sometimes when I'm in my silent time, which is most of my time, they fill my head with so much stuff that, you know, like I've said, I gotta go and talk about it, and then it just starts being so much, and you're trying to say all this stuff, but they, you know, they just are constantly there's a constant frequency vibration. It's constant, and you know, it's always there. Just like I said, when all the power goes out, that it becomes very silent. I never have silence. There's constantly talking in these frequencies going that I know that they're being artificially maintained somehow. And I know that they're doing it to fight against some of us who can hear this higher frequency, or we're tuned into it or something, and it hurts. Like it feels like it's like stabbing through your ear like a knife. It's weird. But anyways, so what I was going to say was so this, and oh, one thing too is the other day when I kept saying Xfinity, it came to me yesterday, Infinity. I was like, ah. And yesterday, or the day before something, my daughter was talking about someone who she knows, and they're going through this whole thing with that father who, the mom's dead now, and there's just the dad, and only one sibling that has time to take care of him, and it all falls on them. And he's very sick, and now he's got the dementia or Alzheimer's or something. And he's got some clogged up arteries in the back, would even need surgery, which a lot of surgeons won't do it because but it all is about ethics. It's like, does a surgeon need money? Is he going to be like, well, you know, I could use a new Porsche, so I would like the leather seats, so I'll go ahead and do this surgery. They're going to probably kill the guy, but he knows the guy's got a death sentence. So, that's our medical system. That's who we're dealing with. There's no like, oh, go out with some grace, you know, spend some time with your family and just let nature take its course. But that is part of our Western medicine too, that has been, you know, they'll keep somebody plugged in on a machine, a body plugged in on a machine. And it just kind of binds that soul. That soul can leave and go, but it is still bound kind of to that body, right? It can't, there's a bind. It's your creation kind of. And then look at how you are then enslaved and it's out of your control. And that's where they even want to take it further. That's their whole freaking what is it? Trans keeps coming in my head, but it's not that. That's just the first word. It's transhumanism. That's part of their whole agenda. And I was just talking to somebody else who was, I haven't even finished the other one, but they were speaking on the trans agenda, you know, and the filter faces. It's all part of it. But they were talking about the new I Love Lucy, which I'm so disappointed who they put in anyways. But since they've only got like 10 people who they're pushing on us like fucking crazy. But to cast Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball, and there's so many better comedic actresses. So many. There's one I can picture. She would have been so perfect, and I don't even know her name. Anyways. It's aggravating that they just put in whoever. And then also for Ricky. What, are you kidding me? So I didn't watch it. I love Lucy. I always did. You know, she was like a role model to me because I was a weirdo goofball. So, you know, I looked up to her because she owned it. But anyways, they were talking about, it was so hard to watch because Nicole Kidman's face looks like a mask. It looks like a porcelain doll. It doesn't even look human anymore. And that's what they want. They don't want us to want to experience. I mean, faces have so much, they have so much expression, which, you know, they have none. So then how do you even read emotion when they don't even have expression? And then, like the lines on someone's face, I find them so interesting. They just, I don't know, there's something incredible about a face aging. I don't understand what, it's part of their agenda. It's part of their push, to get us to want to be their idea of perfect so that we go after this unreachable thing, like people trying to have these bodies that are really CGI, airbrushed bodies and prepubescent and stuff, and you've got all these people out trying to have these same bodies because they've got us chasing something that isn't real. And the people do it. That's how they work. That's how they live. That's how they survive. Distractions and unattainable goals. Feel like a failure all the time. But anyways, I'm just going off all over the place. But anyways, that's what the filter phase is, transhumanism. It's all over the place. Just start paying attention and you'll start noticing how much they want to. It's all a division between the natural and the natural way of being, natural God, natural soul, spirit, whatever. All of the things that is a natural creation, and compared to this unnatural created world by controlling motherfuckers. So, okay, so I got this kind of makes my point right here. So my daughter was talking about the guy with Alzheimer's and stuff, and so she's like, well, I mean, are you more prone to that because now with your brain injury? And that's what I've been told the whole time. You know, you got to keep your brain active. You got to keep doing things like learn a language. I do word games and stuff. I like the crocheting and stuff. You know, you just got to keep your mind going. And and they were talking about putting him in a home, and I was like, no. I mean, the only reason to do something like that is if it is round the clock care, but the government will take all of their assets. They'll take their home. They'll take everything. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know about, and they just are always looking for the easy fix. So, you know, we can't discard our elderly. We have to be there for them, just like that we were there when we were pissing our pants. But we have to also, you know, it's the circle of life. You have to give. You have to be a receiver and a giver. You can't just be a taker. You have to give too. But anyway, so she was saying, you know, is this going to happen to you? And I was like, you know, I mean, I don't know. They don't know what your future is when you get a brain injury. They say that it can happen faster. So when I, you know, I'd pay attention, like, am I messing up my words? And, you know, a lot of it is just, I mean, I don't see her really getting worse, but it does stay on my mind. And so I do notice, like, when I get stuck and I can't think of a word, and then I'll lose it and then it's like, oh my gosh. And I told her, though, I mean, you would never have to be thinking about that. If I start feeling like I'm can't take care of myself, I'll just go out in the woods. Go out in the woods and get lost. I mean, I believe in natural occurrence. I don't need to be locked up in a stinky ass home for 2 years. And yeah, I've seen those places. No, it's not a place you want anybody to go to. And there's so much red tape. There's so much bullshit. There's so much unwritten language that they have, because they're only out to fuck you. They're not there to, you know, make life easier on you. They're out there to enslave you, to make you chase a carrot that's not there, and give you, you know, give them all your money while you're doing it, because you're just so this insatiable beast out there chasing this unattainable goals. So, anyways, when I started this, after the frosting and after the soul connection, I was going to talk about the connecting with your soul, you know, mind-body connection, and the thing about the food. And so I really started considering all of this different stuff about the food, and thinking about, like, how much do we really need? And it really made me start thinking a lot about that feeding times, and that's where I got off on that whole thing. It was like, they freaking give us feeding times. We don't need to eat that much. And why would we need times to be told, you gotta eat at this time? We can't think for ourselves? Like, we don't know when we're hungry? We're supposed to eat when we're not hungry just because we're supposed to eat? It's like, and then we've got all these obese people, and then it's like, well, I need more food. It's like, when do we start thinking for ourselves? When do we start going like, but anyways, this is the stuff that I started thinking about when everybody was like, you got to get stocked up on the food. Because I was thinking, even if you stock up, like I've saw, you know, so many different people with their basements full, like shelving, and just like a fucking store in their basement of food, like ready for the end times, right? And so I was just like, okay, these people are all prepped up. But what happens when all their neighbors aren't? Like, do you just say, hey, no, sorry, you should have done better for yourself, starve to death? Like, how long can, like, when you were prepped up for fucking a year, 2 years, 5 years, like, are you planning to be the last people on earth? Are you planning on sharing with people? Because people will run out. I mean, nobody, it's a spectrum. You know, like I had people telling me, you know, you got to be prepared for at least a year or two. My idea of preparing is start thinking about, okay, so if food is an issue at this point, then don't we need to be considering other options? And I think that a lot of people were triggered by that, and that's why a lot of people started moving out and going into, I'm always squinting, but my eyes, God, I want those med beds. The lights fucking kill my eyes. It's like I'm burning. Anyways, because when we need to consider like where we're getting our food and how we're getting it and stuff. If somebody's about to take that away from you, then it's not like, okay, well, I'm gonna just get 2 years worth, and then I'm gonna, you know, I'll figure it out then after everybody else is starved to death. Well, don't you think we need to start figuring it out now? And so, yeah, that's where I think that a lot of people start moving out and going off grid and start being like, oh, they're fucking with my power. They're fucking with my food sources. They are, you know, charging me up the ass for every fucking thing. So a lot of people start being like, why? Why am I involved with this system? I mean, a lot of people, I mean, I remember, I swear to God, it was like 25 years ago is when there started being people who had gone, worked their way up, become a CEO or whatever, and all of a sudden saw like, hey, this is pointless. This is useless. This is not feeding me or filling me up. And blow everything off, you know, sell everything, get a sailboat and live on a sailboat the rest of their lives. And I think that's part of that whole awakening is that, well, why am I relying on this system? But that's what they started doing to me about the food thing. And then I started just really thinking about, you know, without like, I know I wouldn't go out and friggin' behead a chicken and pull its feathers out to eat. I don't know how many other people will. I mean, I could go out and fish. I could definitely fish. I think I, you know, did that as a little kid. But there's a lot of things that there's no way that I would do to eat. I would churn some butter. I would do some cheese. I would, you know, grow some food. But to me, it was just really started making me really start thinking about like my own responsibility to myself. If they take everything away from me, how am I responsible for myself? What am I doing for myself? Just like the health thing. When I saw that they weren't trying to help my health, instead they were destroying my health, especially as I was aging. Oh, this could be the wood guy. Well, I guess I could call him back. Yeah, this wood thing too. I think these wood guys think they're rock stars. I don't know what their deal is. Oh, let me see. I'll get my phone. Hold on. Oh, I'm blind as a bat. I can't see good. God, I can't see shit. Even with my glasses, it's just a fucking blur. Sorry about this. I wouldn't even freaking give a shit about 1-800 number. All the, but these wood guys, they fucking think they're rock stars. It's like, it's the third day. And, you know, what I was starting to talk about too was this fucking temperatures. It was like, I just can't believe I moved here because it's supposed to be like this really like, not go below 35 rarely. And back to the calendar thing. So each time I go in and look, it's not getting better. The snow, this frigid temperatures. We're down in the single digits. My water, cold water won't even come on in my kitchen. It's frozen. And then run out of wood. And the other night when the power, like if the power went off now, I see how those people in Texas died. Like this is, you know, fucked up. And this is what they're doing. This is how they're killing people. They're doing it on purpose. And that's a shame about it. At the same time, they're marketing their climate change. Oh, it's just climate change. What do you expect? It's like, fuck off. Don't Trixie, I'm busy right here. Excuse me. Oh, and she wouldn't come in when I called her in. So she came in, and I think her feet were frozen. She comes in, it's just ice going everywhere. And she's and she's trying to get it off of her, and the bottom of her foot is ice. So when she steps down, it's crump. And she's like, what the hell? And it's like, yeah, you went out and froze yourself to death. That's what you did. But anyways, the temperatures are horrible, and then trying to get those wood guys to come out, and they think they're freaking rock stars, and they don't call you back. Like in the middle of a conversation, they just disappear for hours and hours, and then it's like, oh, well, us forest people, we stay out in the forest all day long. We come to do our deliveries at night. And it's like, I live in the rural. It's friggin' dark. There's no plowed roads. I'm snowed in, dude. Like, what the hell? Yeah, I don't know. Everything right now is just frustrating, I swear. But back to the food. So that really got me thinking about that when they were talking so much about we were going to be in a period of time that we were going to need to have food stocked up. And so, you know, we're all waiting and waiting. And well, people paying attention. People who weren't paying attention, they're just like, oh, well, it's climate change. But some of us like look like crazy paranoid people, like, oh, it's about to go down. It's going to go down any minute. And, you know, on edge, waiting and waiting. And then it not coming and not coming and not coming. But still, you know, I've kept my stock up of, but it's weird stuff like oatmeal, rice, beans. It's stuff that, you know, you can keep on your shelf a while. So I have that kind of stuff. And then it's right at the end of when you run out of your produce and your creamer and you're ready to go back to the store. And then it happens. It's like, oh, motherfuckers. I should have been paying better attention to the weather thing. But I was too consumed with myself. And I went down there to get wood. And then I thought, okay, well, I can't get it right now, but I'll just go back next week. And then whatever, 2 days later, we're in a snowstorm of hell. And it is. Like, they don't even give us a sun. They don't give us, you know, I bet you I could go out and get a snowball of this, whatever funk is on out here, and probably come in and burn it. I probably could burn that in my fireplace, really. Just go out and make snowballs. Just fill my fireplace with snowballs. Because it's just artificial bullshit. In this artificial world that we are existing in at this point in time, so consciousness can wake up and begin to explore itself and move out of this heavy energy of three-dimensional existence that's controlled by other beings that are manipulating. It's like, but when I did see the medical thing was out to get me, that's when I started really focusing on my own health. And then, you know, but I don't know. The food thing is, and you know, I shouldn't get upset with other people who are slowly waking up, because there's a lot of things where, you know, I mean, I had like, all year, all 2021 to explore this thing about food and resources and what does it all mean and where does it come from and how do humans survive and what do we need to survive and why do they give us feeding times? And why do they give us feeding times when there's obesity is the issue in this world? You know, and then everything that they try and do that is about health or healthy, they charge you out the ass for it. It's part of their system. It's all part of this system. Corrupt system. It's just, yeah, I can see that. It is like it's just a pussy. It is like a big pus, their system. It's just ooey, just oozes pus. It's just toxic. But anyways, you know, and when you do release their stuff, like you release their medical, like they're not going to save me. I'm going to have to take my health into my own hands. They're not going to give me a pill that's going to, you know, supposedly help this symptom while it's destroying 5 other parts in my body. Like, fuck that bullshit. And oh my God, the overrun of big pharma commercials right now. It's just like, oh my God, it is over the top. It's just nonstop. And the ones where, like Syria is a big one. Some country, I don't know, could be Afghanistan too. I keep seeing all these different ones where they just keep showing the people in the street and little kids starving and telling us to send money and stuff. But now I've seen a German one and a a German and a Chinese commercial, the same exact commercials that we're getting for Syria and Afghanistan, only it's America. Because we're all so poor and we can't feed ourselves and we're destitute. And so they're asking their people to give us money because that's part of their fucking bullshit. It's all part of their system. They control the media. They control what we see. They control how we see the world. They are in control of it all. And anyways, so when you start recognizing, like, their medical is not there for you. You take your own health into your own hands. The food thing. You start taking your own resources into your own hands. You start having to really consider, what do I need for fuel? You know, like, I think that so many people have paid so much more attention to the gas they put into their car than consider, like, what they put into the fuel their own body. And I think that is where we're kind of transitioning, is that reprioritizing ourselves. And, you know, treat yourself like a queen, treat yourself like a king. And that isn't like put yourself up on a pedestal. That is give yourself importance. Give your health importance. Give what your body needs importance. Like, focus on you. And, you know, some people need to focus on themselves as much as they focus on the factard. But you need to, you know, when it comes to your health and nutrition, and then recognizing that when you do need not a distraction. Distractions aren't, they aren't, that's not, like, helpful, yeah, but they're definitely not helpful. I mean, they can be helpful in a sense because everything's got two sides to it. But when you're trying to really grow and expand yourself, you don't want to just use distractions. Like, even though crocheting is kind of like a distraction, it is also, it's a meditation. You go into a place where you're just mind, silence, and you just go into a deep meditation. So it is still, and you're creating and you're making stuff. So it's not like a distraction in that sense, but it is a distraction because you're not just focused on the hell that we're in. So it is, it has value, but you know what, sometimes you just gotta distract yourself, however, you know, but a lot of people do a lot of things that are not productive for themselves, you know. They swipe right all day long, they head to the bar all day long, like all these different things to distract their mind. You know, you need to let your mind, it's the connection, it's the facing yourself and connecting to yourself. And, you know, it's an important part of the mind-body concept of this mind-body spirit, is that you have to do all this connecting. No, you know, God's not going to come running down out of the clouds and help you. I mean, they sent down a lot of people down here to teach this stuff. You know, Jesus was self-appointed, wasn't voted in. And that's where, when you come to bring these messages of Christ consciousness and you know what you're connected to, it's like you feel compelled. It's like a responsibility where you've got to go out and talk about these things it's just to trigger people's brains to start thinking. And it's like the seeds have been planted throughout our life, but then there's different people that come into our life that water, or maybe they troll up the dirt a little bit, you know, so our mind can keep expanding and growing. So we have all these different people. Well, there's different people who come in to bring these messages of health, yeah, and growth and connection. Because it's all about connecting, and especially trying to leave this artificial world and connect to the supernatural world that you're told doesn't even exist. So it's a big stretch for a lot of people to start thinking in ways that they haven't even ever considered. They were so busy thinking about, like, you know, what they could do to impress somebody or whatever, or, you know, how they could get people to like them, that they weren't really thinking about what they wanted. They were thinking about what they wanted, what they wanted, what they wanted. And if I could just please all these people, maybe I could be happy. But really, it's all about pleasing you. That's how you're going to find your happiness. And it's not selfish to focus on yourself, but to always remember there's a giving and a receiving. If you're taking, you need to be giving. You don't need to be in this, it's like don't be vacuum, like sucking in, because it will, your bag will get full. It just won't work. You won't have balance. You have to always be in that. It's being in motion, it's energy. You have to, and you get stagnant and you're just like give, or take. Either way, there has to be balance. So, those are just things to think about today, I guess. I've just been all over the place again. But anyways, that's what a snowstorm will do. I just can't believe this is like, because that first year of my dark night, like 5 years ago, I swear. But I mean, I'm just relating this to that, because that was like this, only it was 8 months. And that was a hard 8 months to get through in my life. There's a lot of times you're getting through stuff and you're just trying to survive it, hard things that you go through. But it's when you get to that part where you're all by yourself and there's no one around and you're in solitary confinement and you have to face all your choices that you made, and you have to accept yourself. You have to even love yourself, even if and you have to see, like, how is judging myself or judging anyone productive? It's not productive. It's a waste of my energy. I don't have time for it. But remember, it's all, it is just a retraining of our brains, because our brains are going to go and do things automatically, and judging and stuff is a big one for us to move out of. But as long as you keep having awareness, being present, being mindful, thinking about what you're saying, considering what you're putting out, those are all the things to think about and grow and expand. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.